Okay, so it's 90 degrees outside and we have a pretty well insulated house. So when I came home from work, it was still 80 inside, which is 10 degrees cooler, but getting warm. So this was running. You can see it's sweating, but it is not iced up. So something is definitely going on. All the vents are open inside. I checked the filter in the basement, in the furnace, and I took that out and it was clean. So now I'm just taking this socket, kind of a pre-made one, not pre-made, but you know, you don't have to get your own size and everything. This is the correct thing here. Actually, it's just something that holds your other things like this, but it happens to work on these screws, screws here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all of these out so that I can take the lid off, and I want to see down in there, and I want to see, you know, I'm gonna get the vacuum and I'm gonna clean all this stuff out, and I'm gonna go from there and see if there's anything blocking it. Okay, so now that I come around the back here, I'm starting to take these out. This screw is actually stuck in there, stripped or whatever. So I'm trying to take this off, and I'm realizing that's got the fan actually attached to it, so it's a little bit tough, but you can see all of this I'm going to vacuum out. Then I found out there's actually a panel on this side, and there's a whole bunch of yucky debris in there. You like that word, yucky? And I'm going to vacuum that out. But as I'm looking back here, all of this should be clean. So that might be attributing to it not getting enough airflow. So I'm going to vacuum that off or spray it out or whatever. I got to figure that out, and then I will show you how I'm doing that. So as you can tell by the beads of sweat on my head, my bald head, that it is hot. It is 90 degrees about, and it's very humid, so I can't wait to have my AC working again. So I'll turn this around and I will show you what I have been finding, and then I'll vacuum it off and do a few other things, and then we'll see if it kicks in. Okay, so I finally got that screw out that was stripped, and I took the cage off. You know, there were screws every so often, and so this is actually still wired, so I just flipped it over so it's out of the way. But as you can see, check that out. That's probably 50% blockage on this side, let alone any other little things. So I'm going to vacuum that out, and we're going to go from there. Be very careful. You don't want to bend these things over. They are very fragile. You see on temporary window units, kids like to push those over, and they think that's funny and it feels good and looks good or whatever, it looks funny. But try not to push those over at all, because those are what is needed to keep this working right. You can see how flexible they are. Don't press those over if at all possible. Okay, so I have it all put back together. Basically, I'm leaving the screws out. I'm gonna go let it run. I've got it all tightly buttoned up. I've got it all vacuumed out. I'm gonna go inside and I'll show you where the furnace filter is, and I'll show you what the registers look like to make sure you know that they all have to be open. We'll go inside now. Okay, so every furnace is a little different. Sometimes the filter's out here. Sometimes this is in a different place, this ductwork. This is the cold air return, and it's sucking air from the house, and it goes into the furnace. So it goes past the furnace filter first. So you want to lift out, if you have any doors or whatever, you lift that out of the way, and then I'll show you what the filter should look like if you're going to keep it in there. Okay, so a good test is to hold it up to the light. You can kind of see the light bulb. You can see that it's white. The last one that I took out a few months ago was almost black. We let our furnace fan run all the time, and it keeps the cool air pumping from the basement through the rest of the house even when the AC is not on. We even do that in the summer. It's just like having a box fan running, so it's not that much energy. But this one is clean. So the outside is clean now, the filter's clean now. The ice is off of that pipe. Now I'm going to go up and look at the registers, and then we're going to fire that AC unit up. One thing to remember is to always have the furnace off. There's a switch on the other side, or you can go upstairs and turn off the furnace and the filter or the fan and the AC, turn it all off. You don't want air blowing through there and you're taking out a dirty filter and then stuff shakes off and goes into the furnace and through the house. So make sure the furnace is off. Okay, so this is what I mean by a ductwork or the registers being open. You can see down in there, that means it's open. You don't want them shut like that, you want them all open to get as much airflow as you can. Okay, we're back at our Honeywell thermostat. So I'm going to turn this to cool. I'm going to turn on the fan. You can see that it says 80 degrees, and I'll be back in, I don't know, half an hour to an hour to see if that temperature is falling. If it is, that means that I've done my job. If it's not, we've got to do some other work.